to have some Shakespeare readings, and again, if anyone would like to read, we have a wonderful book here of pieces. If anyone wants to come up to do that and share. We've got some text, we've got some remarks by some public officials. Again, thank you for being here. What we're going to do is be here for about maybe 30 or 40 minutes, then we're going to walk down Peace Street to 14th, take a left on 14th, walk all the way to Euclid, take a right on Euclid, and we will end at 11th Street, the 2600 block. Okay? So I knew Gaurav as a director, as many of you did, and as one of the most brilliant and affectionate and supportive people that I've ever known in my life. He had a passion for so many things, almost endless. I once saw him improvise a 3-hour lecture, and those of you who were in the room for the Ramayana remember this. A 3-hour lecture on the connections between astrophysics, Shakespeare, and Hinduism. And it just all made perfect sense to him. And then it made sense to us because Gaurav was all about sharing his spirit with other people. Last year, I had the amazing opportunity to attend a Shakespeare's birthday party at Gaurav's house. And he got dressed up, and we all read monologues in his living room, and then we retired and sort of read scenes. And it was one of the most special things I've ever been a part of. I had the opportunity there to watch Gaurav read a Shakespeare monologue. Gaurav, as you know, was not an actor. He was very much a director, very intellectual about it. So we kind of pressured Gaurav into reading. It was the end of the night. We had a few glasses of wine, and we said, come on, go up and read. And Gaurav took this book that I hold in my hands, and he chose to read the Juliet monologue from the balcony, because Juliet was the character that he most identified with. Gaurav got about one line through, and he immediately started directing it. He stopped, and he was like, this is what is going on here. He's Heather Haney has a much better Gaurav impression. Immediately started directing it, so we started booing and hissing and, speak the speech. So he finally got back in. He got about 3 or 4 lines in before he started crying, because no one had ever asked him to read Shakespeare out loud before. And he was so unbelievably gripped by this material and so passionate about the message that this material held that it was too much for him. So he started crying, we started crying. It was like, technically it was a mess. You couldn't hear anything he was saying. He's all fidgety, he's doing all this stuff, but the pure emotion behind it, his pure love for this material was one of the lasting memories of my life. So I wanted to start out by reading that monologue in honor of my friend. O Romeo, Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love, and I'll no longer be a Capulet. 'Tis but thy name that is my enemy. Thou art thyself, though not a Montague. What's Montague? Is it not hand, nor foot, nor arm, nor face, nor any other part belonging to a man? Oh, be some other name. What's in a name? That which we call a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. So Romeo would, were he not Romeo called, retain that dear perfection which he owes without that title. Romeo, doff thy name, and for thy name, which is not part of thee, take all myself. One of the things that I've heard so consistently spoken about Gaurav in the past week of collective mourning is his great faith in us and his belief in us that we have the power to move people through our acting, through our artistry. And I will never ever forget the belief that he had in what I could bring to the world. And I know that others feel the same. At this point, I wanted to read a letter from Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton. Her office was really, really important, and Cartwright Moore, wherever Cartwright is, from her office. Actually, if we could have a nice round of applause for Cartwright. Where are you? Maybe he doesn't want to be acknowledged, but I know he's here somewhere. They were very instrumental in helping us get this set up. That letter is somewhere. Someone have a copy? You have a copy, great. Statement of Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes Norton on the occasion of the candlelight vigil in memory of Dr. Gaurav Gopalan. Though I cannot be with you this evening, what I have read of the loss to our city of the multi-talented and brilliant aerospace engineer, Dr. Gaurav Gopalan, draws me to all of you who gather at Dupont Circle Park to light candles in memory of Gaurav. An aerospace engineer, Gaurav was one of the scientists we attract and import because without them, American science simply would not move forward today. Without a green card, Gaurav nevertheless loved our city and became one of us, embracing our vibrant theater and comfortable in our neighborhoods. Here, Gaurav found a partner and was finding himself. But it was also here that he lost his life. This brutal crime is an unbearable truth that Gaurav's death calls us at last to confront, to fail to engage the fact of the violence that took him from his partner, his friends, his family, and this city is to condone it. The recent surge of crimes against transgender women and lesbians is a thundering call for action. I call on the U.S. Attorney for the District of Columbia to designate a special priority to bringing Gaurav's killer to justice, to show the city and the world that these recent hate crimes, which tarnish the reputation of a great progressive city, will not be tolerated. On behalf of the residents of the District of Columbia, I offer deepest sympathy to Gaurav's partner, Bob Schaefer, his parents, and his friends. At this point, I would like to introduce Councilmember Jim Graham, who, as many of you know, has had a wonderful and profound effect on GLBT issues in our community. And I thank him for being here.
Thank you all for being here for what is a heart-wrenching experience on this nice warm night. And thank you also for sharing your strength and your creativity and your energy for my deceased constituent and for those who know and love Gaurav, such as Bob Schaefer, who is behind me, who needs our love and support right now. Because understanding this is for many of us the most difficult thing, because we have such little information. There has been such little that has been shared by the Metropolitan Police Department, and we understand why, because there are detectives at work. But at the same time, we're here at Dupont Circle, but this happened on 11th Street. in Ward 1, the ward that I am privileged to represent. We need to find this killer, because having done this once, there's every reason to believe he or she will do it again. And so this has to be stopped and stopped as quickly as possible. We've also got to reassure the fine neighborhood where Bob lived with Gaurav, and where many people still live on 11th Street. I want to thank Jason for bringing this together. I think this creative and inspiring celebration of this light makes the most sense, but we are determined to get to the bottom of this. We are determined to bring this killer to justice and to support everyone in the District of Columbia. And I'm very pleased that Earlene Budd is here, who has so ably represented transgender people for so many years. And she is here to lend her voice to say that we care about everybody. We care about everybody in this society. And if there is a group that is being targeted, we especially want resources brought to bear in the case of those individuals. So I thank you all very much.
At this point, a few people have expressed interest in reading some pieces in honor of Gaurav. And if you have not expressed interest yet, please take the stage. It's the least we can do to honor our friend. So if anyone has expressed interest, please come up and we'll figure out an order.